all long-term planning and teaches regular classes to her crew and outside organizations. Joining her is John Baer. John is a Kata coach in training at Zingerman's mail order. John has spent over a year running a market Kata team with students from Professor Jeffrey Liker's classes at the University of Michigan's Graduate School of Engineering. So please join me in welcoming Betty and John.
Whatever. All right. Good afternoon or good morning, everybody.
How's it going?
Like I said, my name is Betty. I'm from Zingerman's mail order. I'm here with my coworker John. We're very excited to be here. Maybe a tad bit nervous, but mostly excited. And we're going to tell you about our Kata journey at Zingerman's mail order. And you guys have already been introduced to our Kata fish. This was designed by our marketing and graphics team. And this was really just to get us to rally around a cry, get us a common message, a theme, something that we could get behind and have some fun with. We found pretty quickly where we work that if we're not having fun, we're not going to continue doing whatever it is that we're not having fun doing. So let's see, let's talk a little bit about who we are and where we're from. Zingerman's community of businesses. We're a group of 10 businesses. We're all located in Washtenaw County in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And, oops, hang on. Let's get some more of these bullets up here. We're dedicated to full-flavored, traditionally made artisanal foods, which is a fancy way of saying we make real food. You can pronounce all of our ingredients. There's not any additives. There's not any preservatives, that sort of thing. The interesting thing on this slide for you guys today is that the other 9 businesses are just now beginning their lean journey. So today, specifically, we're going to talk about Zingerman's mail order. There we are. We started in 1993. We started on a table in the basement deli because students would come to the university and get hooked on brownies and then go on, they'd get their education, they'd go on and leave, and then they would call and say, hey, could you send me some of those brownies? And somebody said, wow, maybe there's a business here. Right? So these years later, we're about 18 million. We have 70 people year-round. That's our core staff, our core crew. And every holiday from October to December, we ramp up to 400 people. So we literally hire, train, and then term 300 people every season. And we've gotten really, really good at that process because we had to. We had to. We do half of our revenues that week before Christmas. So on an $18 million business, we do 9, actually it's the 2 weeks before, and then half of that we do the week right before Christmas. So quite a bit of variability. And we've been using lean now for about a decade, or 11 years, I heard. Feels longer. So continuous improvement history at ZMO, what does that look like? So again, we started our journey in 2004. A gentleman named Eduardo Landers was going to the university, and he was a student of Dr. Liker. And he wrote his dissertation at mail order, and the title of his dissertation was Implementing Lean in a Highly Variable, Perishable Environment. Up until now, or at least to my knowledge, lean had been used in a lot of car places, things that don't spoil if they sit, right? We don't have the ability to make big buffers of things because food goes bad very quickly, especially if you're not using any preservatives. So we started that in 2004, and we've been working with this gentleman throughout our history. He flies in from Brussels every 6 weeks, and we do 3-day work sessions still. But over the years, we have done lots of really great work. So much so that this is a little snapshot of our last holiday. We were able to achieve a 7-second takt on our warehouse floor. So this meant every 7 seconds, an order of really great food came off our line and out to hopefully some of you people in this room. We also had reduced internal mistakes this last holiday, as well as the employee experience was very high too. So those 300 people that came in, we're all very happy to be there, and we were all very happy to have them. And it was a good time. It was a good holiday. So you might ask yourself, what's missing, right? We have a faster takt on the warehouse floor. We have better quality. People are happy. And all through our journey, and here's a little snapshot of some of the different things that we've tried over the years. You know, we did the PDCA. We tried this grant-based continuous improvement thing. we have known that we wanted to get the frontline staff involved. And not even wanted, we knew that we needed them there driving the improvement because that's where the knowledge of the work is. And we are an organization that truly believes in the power of the people. So we've been, all along these 10 years, we've been trying to get people involved to different varying degrees of success. Mostly it's been the top 3 managers, myself and 2 other managers that have been a bottleneck for improvement. Come on. This is kind of what it looked like. And if you look at that slide, let's see if we can do this. Boom. This is what my brain really felt like when we were doing the 5 whys. This stuff was just all so confusing, and we had this little problem hut thing over here, and we tried Toyota business practices. And all along, the thing we were trying to get was folks just to get curious about their job. Come help us improve. All these initiatives were, oh, whoa, 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 let's use the back button. Were mostly used by top-down management who we pushed it on other people. They felt like we were pushing it on them. It felt like we were dragging them along, improving with us, and it's because we were. It's really hard work when you're dragging folks along and they're not enthused, they're not engaged, they don't want to do the work. And that's the result that we got from folks. And it just never took hold. They were grueling experiences. They were those meetings that Mike was talking about where for hours we're talking about the semantics of a word or trying to create the perfect problem statement that doesn't imply a solution and getting all philosophical with that. But it never took hold and it wasn't much fun. So what happened? About 3 years ago, Eduardo had called and said, I've read the Toyota Kata book and you've got to read this book. I think we should try it. And I was like, another book to read, right? Okay, we'll read the book. So we started reading the book, and right at that same time, Dr. Leiker had contacted mail order and said, I'm teaching this lean course. I have these groups of graduate engineer students who are looking for a real life business experience or a real problem in a real business to practice the Kata patterns on. Would you be interested? And of course we went, oh my God, yes, if we're interested. And I immediately went, I'm interested, but I don't know anything about, I literally was on chapter 2. And we said, you know what, it's okay. What I'm learning is it's okay not to know. It's uncomfortable not to know, but I'm learning that it's still okay to be uncomfortable not to know. And so we invited these students into our workplace. And that first year I wanted one group. I said, if I can get one group and I can get really good at this before everybody else, then I'll feel confident and I'll be able to teach, right? And so we got 3 groups, and it was really wonky, and scheduling was a mess. And I had the group that I was running would not stop experimenting. That's all they wanted to do. We had no idea what our current condition was. And so it was just sort of it was an interesting experience that first year. The second year we wanted 2 groups, we got 4 groups. This year we asked and got 8 groups of students working with our front line. So what the heck has changed, right? We now have 8 groups. The cool thing though, even 8 is cool because it's a big number, but what's really cool about it is until now most of the lean learnings have been in the warehouse. So this year we have jumped departments. So we now have a group of students working in our purchasing area as well as our service center. And we've also crossed businesses so that now Zingermans Delicatessen, which is in downtown Ann Arbor, now is also hosting a group of these students that's helping us learn these kata practices. Let's see. So we now have 20 plus people problem learning. So we've changed it from problem solving because we're done trying to solve stuff. We know that that's not our role in this. Our role is to learn. Our role is to get curious. Our role is to help others learn to get curious. And really, I find myself saying that a lot to the crew. It's like, if we mention scientific method and thinking scientifically, and my one boss is really into pushing like scientific method, and he wanted the lab coats, and our job is not packing food, our job is the scientific method. And we lost a fair bit of our crew with that spin. So we changed the spin. And now we are problem learning, and we're just getting curious about what it is that we do every single day. And so now we have gone from a culture where people literally preferred to go to the dentist and spend an afternoon with me problem solving, to a situation where now we don't have enough experienced coaches to help everybody that wants to participate. Somebody mentioned earlier that everybody wants our time. Everybody wants a piece of our time right now, and it's a good problem to have, and we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with this problem. So we were sitting at a restaurant in Ann Arbor, and we were going over this presentation actually, and talking about why does Toyota Kata, why is this working at mail order now? We've tried lots of things for lots of years. So why Kata? Why now? And Mike was actually with us, and he asked us, why do you guys think it's working? And it's just interesting how quickly we do fill in those blanks, because we, Eduardo and I, because we're super smart, right, immediately started filling in this blank and saying, we know why it's working at mail order, and here's the 5 reasons that we think it is. And we started using words like, well, we think it's this, and perhaps it's this, and maybe it's that. And Mike rightly pointed out that we didn't know. We didn't know why it was working, and that we had reached our threshold of knowledge, right? And we said, all right, well, we're doing a presentation on this, so we better go find out. And so we decided that we would ask the people who were actually, these 20 plus people, let's ask them why. Why Kata, why now? So John, who is one of these engaged people, is going to talk to us about why these folks have gotten involved now.
All right, so we went around, we were wondering why Kata, why now? We asked the core crew, what got you involved? What got you interested? You see our results here, great results. We started staring at them like a magic eye. Stuff started popping out. I think we like to be involved with problem solving. We like learning. We like fixing things. Some of us are naturally organized. Some of us are detail oriented. So Kata's a personal fit for some of us. And visuals, the visuals and the clear process, the directions, the SOPs, the process is appealing. It's easy to see. It almost becomes common sense. So when we're empowered to make decisions, change things at work, it's okay to make mistakes. We can change things, see the progress, and we get the rewards. We get to see it. That's the change that I made. I feel better about it. Everyone feels happy. You can do changes at work. So Kata is different. The motivation side is the 2 things that I just touched base on. The the process is appealing and it's a personal fit. That's the motivation. That's the engagement behind the Kata. That's why we have 20 plus people involved. So, Kata that shit. Have you been working and doing something like, I was using this scan gun. I'm using the scan gun, scanning something, put down the gun, get the marker, marking something off, put the marker down, grab the gun, use the gun, put the gun down, over and over and over. So I knew we had the continuous improvement. It's okay to make mistakes at work. I was kind of embarrassed. I looked around, no one's looking. I grabbed a rubber band, put this Sharpie on the rubber band gun, scan, mark, scan, mark, scan, mark. It completely changed everything. I, at the end of my shift that day, removed the marker and the rubber band. Hopefully no one saw it. But it ended up saving like 6 steps. We do that process hundreds of times a day. Saves thousands of steps, saves a bunch of time.
And what John's not mentioning is when I walked by, because he wasn't there, and I saw that, I was like, I got teary. Like, oh my God, somebody's doing something, right?
So now I ask everyone, please use this. Don't waste time. I don't want to have you wasting your time walking around, grabbing this, switching that. Next slide. So this is when we shut the line down in 2013. because our orders are becoming offline because of an internal mistake. And this was right around the time we found out about Toyota Kata. This was our first Kata. The out of markets, our internal mistake, was at an all-time high. 36% of every order we were shipping out was getting put offline and ended up on the floor. You see the styros there, cheese, bread, meat, all inside there. Should be on a truck going out the door. So after starting the Kata, it was my first Kata experience at work, 2014. We set a target of 4%. We met that target. We even went less than 3.5. We continued the Kata last year. We were almost down to a clean 3. So we're hoping we can get it down next year even more. So this is Diego. He works in the cheese department. He's holding a wheel of Gouda. We have multiple types of Gouda. We were wasting Gouda at an all-time rate. Like 340 pounds of cheese was getting thrown out. That's why you see Diego sad. We were throwing away like $4,000 almost. That's really horrible. So we started the cheese Kata, and we've reduced our Gouda waste by 65%. We have a bread Kata. We have all types of food Katas. So currently, one of our challenges is to continue to expand our Kata activities. So we're going to develop coaches like Betty. We're going to develop coaches in training like myself, and we have a couple others at the moment. We're going to continue working with Dr. Liker's student group at U of M and his really amazing engineering students. And we have 8 active Kata currently.
Cool. So our second challenge, and this has been an ongoing challenge for many years at Mail Order. So this graph, although poorly labeled, is our fiscal weeks along the very bottom, and then those are box counts by day. So you can see the big spike there. That's my birthday. No, not really. That's Christmas. We go from anywhere from doing 100 orders on a day, like on a Thursday, to I think our top this last year was 8,703 orders. So that's the variability that we experience from day to day. This peak has been so hard for us to manage as a small business that it took all the management and all the front lines resources throughout from like October on to just get ready for this peak. So we used to do this big, like, everything needs to stop. You know, if you're doing any sort of improvement, if you're doing any sort of program, if you're doing whatever, it needs to stop by October 1. We need to document where we're at, and that's all we're doing for the holiday, because we're inviting 300 people into our home who are not going to know what we know, and we need to be able to have consistent results. And I think now that we have built a very bad wall and a very bad habit, and we have taken this peak mentality, I guess I would call it, or hibernation mode, from not just the holiday, but it pretty much applies to any peak that we experience. Father's Day is a peak. Mother's Day is a peak. So anything that involves us sort of ramping up and getting ready and getting folks trained, we tend to put all of our other continuous improvement mentality and stuff off to the side, and we're still struggling to make it part of our daily work. So we did a really good job building this wall around the holiday, and it served its purpose when we had to have it. Now I feel like we are at a point where we need to come up with a slow and steady way to maintain our either, whether it's Kata or whatever our continuous improvement methodologies that we're using at the time, slow and consistent throughout the year, just like everything else that we want, just the same way that we want orders introduced to the line. And that's what we're working on now, is what does that look like? How can we continue to improve? And you know, when you're inviting 300 people in who all have ideas, and we want their ideas, just because they're only on day 3 doesn't mean that their idea might not be the one that we're looking for, right? It's just figuring out how do we sort through all those? How do we keep the ideas fresh so that when there's time to actually do that work post-holiday, that we can do that work? And that's the sort of thing that we're working on right now. The whole peak mentality, though, is really interesting, because I find that even if we have a very successful holiday, we're like, oh yeah, we need to take a break, right? Or we have maybe we had a sales initiative that wasn't well planned, and there's lots of mistakes on the floor as a result, and we work real hard for the boxes that we have to get out the door that week. We want to take a break then too. So pretty much we want to take a break most of the time, and we're trying to fight that urge. It's kind of like working out, you know, you got to get yourself off the bonbon couch. And I don't know why that first step is always so hard, like why it takes us so much inertia to get going. And then once we get going, we're like, oh, this feels pretty good. Why does it take me so long to get get off from watching TV and go walk the dog? I don't know, but it does. So this is our second challenge that we're working through right now. So,
Kata works.
we know it works. We know that we like it. These are our 20-plus engaged people. A couple of snapshots of our storyboards there. And we're just continuing on our journey. So that's what we had for you today.
So like we said, Zingerman's mail order's been doing Kata for over a decade, but the community of businesses is just starting, so keep an eye on them.
Yeah. And there's our shameless plug if you're hungry, Zingermans.com. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you guys.